Hey, this is Coach Kinsey Shae, and I'm here with Bobby in Gen-X-PLORTATION, just real raw talk about our generation, just communicating, how women and men communicate. That's all we did last week, is really just dissecting that. But at the core of it, what is the issue? What is the malfunction? What is the thing that holds us back? Let's dive into that. How's that sound, Bobby? You can introduce yourself.
That sounds great. I'm Bobby Merwin. I'm a licensed professional counselor. And I have to tell you, I like the hey. It's Coach Kinsey Shae. I'm getting those Fat Albert vibes, and I'm just digging it. It's kind of taking me back to childhood again. Gen X people, right? Pardon me. Yeah, we're Gen X people. That's how we do this. But
I know.
Just deepen it a little bit. Hey. Maybe try that. Got some of that out.
I know it. I know it. So with this communication, I really feel it's what our beliefs are. I think we project a lot of our wounds and our emotions onto other people. Yeah. And we have them pay for things that we're not really inherently taking ownership of ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's well said. Paid for. People have to pay for it. Again, not disclosing ages, but you and I are Gen X, so this isn't our first relationship, rodeo, however you want to say it. And I can reflect back on many relationships that I've had where I look back on it, because you could pull back to that 10,000 foot level and say, oh, there's some stuff I might have fucked up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's fine to have that, and you want to start ending that as soon as you can. And I did it with a combination of maturity. Again, I am male, so it only goes to a certain threshold. But that and counseling and education, and then you finally get to the point where you can put together some boundaries and some principles that are going to be yours. And I always tell that one of the credence of my practice is acceptance and forgiveness, the failures that you've had before, and forgive yourself for not knowing what to do.
Exactly. As we, peel back the emotions of, the onions of our emotions, of our wounds, we just really encapsulate ourselves with all of our traumas. Everything that went wrong, like we felt abandoned as a child, would keep people at arm's length away. If somebody betrayed us, we're like, oh, I'm never going to feel that again. Like after divorce, you're like, I'm never getting married again, because it comes from that pure frustration of you felt very vulnerable, very sometimes used, sometimes betrayed. And you're like, how can it get any better? Right. And I think a lot of it is how we value ourselves, the trust we have in ourselves to be resilient,
Absolutely. And if we value ourselves, it's kind of inherent that we will start to bring in some self-confidence. And that helps with communication and conversation, because if you can reflect back, not picking on you, Kinsey, but if you can reflect back on times where you've had quarrels with people, I'm sure there's a modicum of them that are in an area where you were so insecure that you couldn't communicate correctly, and you were just literally fists up the whole time and trying to bash it, listening and taking the information in and having confidence in yourself that you could project something back that would be positive and move the conversation and the argument forward. Because we're all going to argue. Let's not mince words. We're going to argue, but it's arguing positively. There's the title of my new book. Write that down. Arguing positively. That's gotta happen.
Exactly. It's like when you get to that this isn't safe moment where all of your traumas, your ego gets triggered and all those auto default things of where we have to protect ourselves. Once we start projecting the hurt, the pain, it's from a pure source of insecurity and lack of trust. And once we realize that that is where it's coming from, I like to call it the 7 layers of why. Like, why am I getting so activated by this? Why am I getting so triggered? What my reaction is not congruent with what actually transpired. There's a deeper root in it. And once we look at it, like we have 60,000 thoughts a day. Those turn into our emotions. And no matter how we anchor our emotions, that turns into our memories, our beliefs, and how we show up. So when people say, this is just who I am, they're anchoring to all of those habits from those limiting beliefs that we acquire, quite frankly, a lot of our core beliefs from 0 to 7. So understanding that most of those are lies, they're just expectations, organizational beliefs, whether you're in the military or a religious organization, or if you're in healthcare, that sense of duty, there's just belief systems that we anchor to, but it doesn't need to overflow in the rest of our life. It serves a purpose when we're working as a nurse, or when we're working in the military, or when we're in our church organization. But it doesn't always have to transpire in our personal relationships. We don't have to have all that control. Like when I work as a nurse, I know my patients, I know what I need to do. There's protocols, I follow them. Life isn't that way, and I can't expect it to work that way. Where there's ease and grace in it, and understanding and active listening, and having integrity boundaries, integrity contracts with yourself and with others. It's super powerful. I could talk about that all day. You can tell.
No, I was going to let you go.
Yeah.
Apparently we have 60,000 thoughts a day, as per you. And I'm thinking, okay, so that means that women have 97,000 and men have 3.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. So let's do the ratios now. It's an aggregate. It's fun. You did say something about I had to grab a pen and start writing stuff down. It's like I'm in a counseling session here. It's like, okay, that's what they said. Okay, write this down. No, you talked about locus of control, one of my favorite terms ever.
Yeah.
It's what is your locus of control? And I always tell people, control what you can, but it doesn't mean that you should always control what you should. It doesn't mean you can control what you can. I even screwed up my own quote.
I know.
I'm totally Tober, I swear to God.
I like to look at this metaphor, like when you're in the car, right? And you're anchoring to your past and whatever, you're in the passenger seat and you're holding on to that rail like old school, back in the day when it was bumpy, you didn't have seatbelts, you would hold on to that. That's kind of like
in the car.
Yeah, in the car, that little handle on
it's called an oh shit handle.
The oh shit handle.
Yeah.
And you're holding on to it, and you're holding, it's not going to protect you, but it's what you know.
It's what you have at that moment. Yes.
Yeah. So you're holding and you're gripping and you're white knuckling it, but the essence of driving your own car is being in the driver's seat and understanding your own self-trust, understanding your own self-well-being, understanding your intuitive heart space. I'm a big heart person, and intuition and values is a big part of my coaching, of just being authentic with yourself and being vulnerable. Date yourself.
Excuse me. Yeah. Yes, that can be taken in a lot of ways. Don't be filthy now, audience. Don't be filthy.
Take the driver's seat.
But take the driver's seat. Take yourself on that mental date. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. It brings me to, you make me think of, and I'm sure that you've studied this, Erickson's stages of change, to where the basic rules are, it's like hopscotch. You can only be in one square at a time.
Right.
And you cannot move to the next square until you complete that square. So all of the elements in that square, you have to get through them. And there's stages of change of life. And I have noticed in talking with most of my clients that when they're having problems progressing, it's because they're dragging that foot.
Right.
They're leaving it back there. And it's like, no, you cannot do that. You have to progress and go all the way to the next stage of change. Excuse me. So that's kind of a technical way to say the metaphor that you were talking about the oh shit handle, because You're dead on about that. It doesn't do anything except maybe stabilize you just a tiny bit, possibly keep your head from banging off of the side window as you're going. That's it. You need to grab the wheel and go. You know, I tell people, you look towards your past, you stand in your present, and you dream towards your future. You can learn from your past. You can look back there. It's fine. Don't walk towards it.
Exactly.
No matter how tempted you are, don't walk towards it.
Yeah.
You're going to walk that way, and you're going to be in this little vestibule as you're walking, because you're going to leave your future farther behind and go closer to your future, or leave your past farther behind. Yeah. I'm going to learn English, and next time we do one of these, I'm going to make sure that my English is much more brushed up. Deep brushed. Yeah.
But no,
give a guy a microphone, can't even talk. You do know that I talk into a microphone multiple times.
I know.
A week. All of a sudden, I just can't English good. No. So, goodness gracious.
I would bring it apart a step further. Like, gratitude is huge in making sense of your past, present, and future, because gratitude makes sense of your past. And, it helps you give grace in the present. Mm-hmm. And it gives you a vision forward, because you can see the possibilities. When you're anchored to that replenishing emotions, the positivity, you can see what's around you instead of having that tunnel vision view of all of your circumstances that are flying. It's like a hailstorm in the fog. You don't know which way you're going. Right?
Yes.
But if you can just kind of spread your wings and take flight with the adversity lifting you up, it will propel you to your future, to your next best you.
Oh, quite. That's a great way to say it, is gratitude, because with the gratitude of your past, you can look at all of the wonderful things that happened and all the mistakes that you made and gather from there. I mean, just as well as I do, that the people that are working with us, that sit in my office, that I work with online, they have one foot in their past, and they cannot let go of it, because it's what they know, because we're going to hold on to what we know. And what we want to do is teach something.
Yeah, they straddle the realities, and they're wondering why they can't move forward. And it's because you have your foot in the quicksand of your past. You're anchored to all of the sadness, the guilt, the fear, the shame. And once you release that and surrender and let go, it just releases the energy, the energetic weight of it. And you can see things more clearly. It's not like smothering wet blanket over you.
Did I hear you say that they straddle their reality?
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that there for now. That I'll come back around to it. That's gonna be a fallback for me. So just grab onto your oh shit handle. It'll happen. It'll happen. No, but you're absolutely, everything that you said, I like your metaphor. It's very, very good. Sorry?
The oh shit handle and straddling your reality to keep stuck.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Oh, totally. You knew that this was going to get more relaxed and take a turn the more we got into this. So here we go.
No.
So that's going to be the mode for us now on. Kinsey, just grab your oh shit handle. We're going to go for a little ride.
The question is for the viewers, like, what is your oh shit handle? What are you grabbing towards or holding so tightly that it's keeping you stuck in your own reality? Once you have that realization of that belief or that trauma, not that it's a lie, but it doesn't serve your better good. Meaning that once you wrap your head around the lesson of it, then you have value as bumper rails to move you forward.
Yeah.
Having that self-trust in knowing your values, which it's not instant change. It's not instant change. Everybody thinks that we have to have this microwaved way of doing life, but that's not how life works. It's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey.
I'm loving your metaphors today. You are the metaphor queen. Microwaving our journey. That is so good. I'm not taking the piss. I'm serious. That is so dead on, because the world of instant gratification is a carcinogen of today.
Right.
People
Yep.
want everything and they want it right now. So
Yep.
yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yep.
Hmm.
Change takes time.
It does.
But we can bend time the way we anchor our energy, though. That's the caveat with that, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Oftentimes, I talk to people that have weight issues. It's one of the
yeah.
things that I specialize in, and the people that I talk to. And it is amazing how they cannot grasp the simplicity of the fact that they did not put on all of that weight overnight.
No,
It took them years.
no.
And when I tell them that it's actually going to come off quicker than they put it on, it's like I hit them in the forehead with a ball peen hammer. They're just like, that's impossible, Bobby. You're not a soothsayer. You can't say that. That's not going to happen. Oh yeah, it is. It's going to come off quicker than it went on. It's going to
So
take you a year, and it's going to come off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what you tell your mind.
Yes.
It will believe.
Yeah.
If you tell them it will never happen, which my views on absolute language, never, always.
Oh gosh, do I ever? You caught me a couple of times. Everybody should know that you and I have been talking for months and months, and we've been planning to do this, and it's been something that we've dreamed of. We're finally putting it together. But yeah, I did get caught in a couple of the absolutes, and you called me on it. And I'm like,
I
know. Yeah, I even expressed that.
Statements, because should always, and it has a tendency, and I catch myself with absolutes in my language. I'm human. But when you say should, it just leads to shame and guilt of what we should be doing.
Right.
When you change the energy of it, like I could do this, like in that curious, like child wonder of I could do this. It really just amplifies your energy, amplifies your drive to go forward. Because in essence, the human journey is about failing forward. So having the fear keep us stuck in the reality that we don't like, we can just fail forward. The meaning staying in action, adjusting it and assessing it and rinse and repeat. I mean, and that's what I have done in my journey. If for people that don't know me, I was in a car accident. I had 22 surgeries, almost lost my arm, my life in a wheelchair. And if I would have just anchored to this isn't working today, I wouldn't be walking. I wouldn't be speaking my truth. I wouldn't be, doing my thing here. We wouldn't even be talking. I would just be in the disabled mindset. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just bring your energy to a label is very disempowering. And in my coaching, it's all women's empowerment. And taking your power back and, really investigating your assets and your truth to the journey of self-discovery, not the destination. So it's super powerful. And I love it because when you see somebody's, light turn on a different perspective, it just makes my heart so happy to see. And that's why I do what I do,
Yeah, I mean, you got me there. That's why I do what I do too. And I liked what you said about should. There's a couple of adages about that, that shoulds and shoulds are not what is.
Yeah.
And, never should on yourself.
Yep.
Because all it does is give you this, I like to call it like a forward negativity. You're saying I should do that. When I think should, I put it out in front of me like this is what I should do.
Yeah. And it's just added to the layer of protection based on our insecurities, our limiting beliefs, and what we can't do, what we feel we can't do. So it's just, for me, it's been super productive for me to really anchor to that energy of I can do something. I could do something. That childhood, like on Christmas morning, you want to go open the presents. You don't know the how. You just you just know you want. It's excitement. So just living in that excitement for life, and we're human. I mean, there's some days where our energy waxes and wanes, you know.
Oh yeah, not every day is going to be the same. I mean, again, that's why they have the song "What a Difference a Day Makes." 24 little hours. I won't sing it, but you know, if you contribute, maybe I will. Maybe.
I know.
But no, it is what a difference a day makes. And I was talking to my daughter about the whole another metaphor that goes with what a difference a day makes is the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
That's one of my favorites because I check and I see where is my light and how can I move towards that way. And we've all had those days where we don't have that light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
So now we have to manifest it and create it.
Set intention. Set intention to manifest.
But,
yeah.
Good communication with people, like we were talking about earlier, good communication with our significant others, and learning to be active listeners. I'm so glad that you said active listening because that's just one of my favorite phrases.
Yeah.
I think I wrote it 10 times in the book that I'm writing because I want people to understand what active listening is. Mm-hmm. And you and I are really good at it because we share this platform. And, you know, whenever you start talking, I stop because I want to hear what you have to say. So,
yeah, it's just, you know, and it's just, we actually met when we were writing our books, because I'm in the process of writing my book about what got arrested in me, what kept me stuck in my reality. And all the valuable lessons, you know, how I worked through my self-esteem, how I worked through my identity, how I worked through, you know, just taking care of myself and nurturing myself. It was super powerful. It was circumstances that most people would say was horrible. But to me, I look at my car accident as a blessing because it gave me the tools and the gifts of myself. So it's just reframing it to a positive. There's many things that can happen in our lives, whether it be divorce, losing a job, you know, losing a friendship. There are seasons of lessons, and just having gratitude for the essence of that person in that time and space to help you grow is amazing and powerful.
And I loved that when you talked about your accident with me, when we were talking very early on. I think it was probably about maybe like the second time that we had ever spent any time together.
Right.
And you told me about it and the gravity of it. That was the thing. It wasn't the car accident, because I've been in a car accident. Mine is a 1 compared to your 9.75, you know? So you told me of the gravity of it and all of the operations and stuff that you had to have done. Yeah. And I really thought clinically immediately, I thought, holy shit, that is going to model her as a person. That is going to mold her. She's going to come out better on the other end on this.
Exactly.
I'm sorry that you had to go through all that, honestly. But at the same time, you know, look what it created in you, because the things that have happened to me have gotten me to where I am here right now. Because I didn't think about being here 3 years ago.
No.
Doing this, writing a book, talking to you, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Boom.
No. And there's no comparison in trauma. That's really keeping us, you know, holding that oh shit handle. Because when we compare people, like I never dealt with that with you. You're pretty much just telling your brain, I'm not going to change. So I always tell people, when you look at my story, look at it as a trauma. It could be divorce. It could be, you know, an illness. It could be anything. Trauma is trauma. It's just learning how to regulate your emotions, learning how to regulate your nervous system, learning how to anchor to positivity. And it's, you know, and this goes back to straddling. If you're going to do all the positive affirmations, but you don't take any stock in your chatterbox, what you're telling yourself on the daily, you're straddling two realities. You can't progress forward.
I love that term. You're not straddling your chatterbox. I'm like, okay, here we go. There's more Kinseyisms, and they're going to roll in.
I know I have a unique view of looking at things, I think.
No, but it's what you said. It's what you said earlier about your controlling what you're controlling. We have things that are visceral reactions. You know, if a spider drops down in front of you, you're going to have a reaction. That's how it goes.
Exactly.
But it's emotional ones that we do need to have a harness on. And where I think women are not as strong is that they have these, I don't want to say emotional deficits, but they don't compartmentalize things as well as men. And I think men compartmentalize them too well. And they harbor, and there is a safe door and a stop gate and a tripwire to get through before you can even get to the door that you can get to get to them.
Right.
And both ways doesn't mean that one's better or worse than the other. Both ways are not conducive to the ability to communicate as well as you want to, because I know for a fact that I look back at some of the relationships that I have had, and I could not say the things that I wanted to say for fear of how it would make me feel to get it out. Whereas if I would have got it out, it's like pulling a tooth. Yeah, that sucks. Nobody wants to go do that. 15 minutes later, oh, that's so much better. Give me some pain pills. I'm going home. I'm taking a nap. Okay, you're done.
The first thing, though, is just like understanding that there's like self-responsibility, you know? Understanding that our emotions are just a product of our past. And once we can move through them and really nurture them, I speak a lot about nurturing your child self, because like going back to our core values, a lot of our chatterbox comes from when we're 0 to 7, you know, and it's that auto repeat playlist that, you know, once you take stock of what you're telling yourself, then you can reframe it and choose to believe I am powerful, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm capable of doing anything. You know, once you can anchor to those energies and truly understand, set intention in your brain that that is who you are. You're telling your brain that that is who you are. Yes, it might take some time. It's not going to happen instantly. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm a doctor and I'll be a doctor tomorrow. I mean, it takes effort. It takes, you know, intention. It takes self-love. It takes, you know, having, you know, really anchoring to your values and really trusting in your essence. So it's a process, and it's trusting the process to the journey of trusting yourself.
Absolutely. And I got to touch on the fact that you do have to have a modicum of self-awareness.
Yes.
To be able to do this, because we, as we're going through our narrative, pardon me, through our day, we're so intertwined with just being behind our eyeballs and just trying to go throughout our day. Whereas sometimes we have to just stop and think to ourselves, is this what I want to be doing or saying right now? And I know that when you start doing that, it takes a long time. Because you almost look like you're having like some sort of a minor seizure. You're kind of like, is this what I should be saying right now? But soon you'll get better at it.
Yeah.
You have to practice, and you have to practice honestly while you're alone. You know, is this something that I should say to this person? Is this something that I should be doing right now? Almost like take the manifest of your day, put it out in front of you. I think they call it a list. I'm joking. But, you know, your manifest of your day, like what you want, need to do, and, you know, go forward from there and be aware of what you're doing. Be aware of your steps. Be aware of what you're saying to people. Be aware of what you're eating. I mean, again, going back to the eating disorder issue and the people that I deal with weight issues, you know, making a food journal is one of the more powerful things that you can do.
Yeah.
And the humility that it creates, you know, you actually have to you humble yourself when you do that.
Exactly.
So
it's self-responsibility
as much as everybody else. What?
It's awareness and self-responsibility.
Yes. Oh, such terrible words. How dare you talk to me like that? Oh,
I mean, like, Like when I'm working with women, I use the mirror exercise a lot. You know, we talk about their limiting belief, where that might have come from. Is it always true? And what would you like to tell yourself? What would you like to tell your child self? What would you want, you know, and really feel that and look yourself in the eyes and really nurture your essence, because it's an inside job to get to your self-trust. And it takes effort, and it takes, you know, failing sometimes, but learning from it. That's what it takes. It's not going to be perfect. It's being imperfectly perfect. It's a blessing. Your scars, your wounds, whether they're physically, emotionally, those scars are your testimony. That is where your power is. That's where your gifts come from.
It totally is. It totally is. You know, accepting your imperfections and knowing that they are just fine. You know, going back to the book again, this is something that I write about, which is you don't have to look like Scarlett Johansson. She is an anomaly. That is not even hardly human. Okay, that's not normal. You are normal.
Judgment. I know you're not meaning to say judgment. I'm not saying, you know, not to put somebody on a pedestal, but you are your own essence. You are super beautiful. There's no comparison. There's no, that's getting into the ego, the comparison, the jealousy, that I never can attain this type of mindset.
The problem is those women compare themselves to that, and that is not going to be helpful. And you were saying something about kind of, I think it was like self-reflection or looking at yourself correctly.
Yeah.
And how many studies have been done on how people do look at themselves. And when you change their atmosphere, when you change the lighting, when you change what they're wearing, there was studies done on people that had, again, going back to the eating disorders and the anorexia, they would look at themselves a certain way. And then when you took literally a bag, and these were studies that were done like 80 years ago. Okay. They're all done in black and white, reel to reel. And you took a paper bag and you put it over their head and put eyes in it, and they looked at themselves. They explained themselves and talked about it in a totally different way, because they were kind of taking themselves out of themselves.
Exactly.
If I can make that make sense. So it's all self, you know, reflection and looking at what you want to look at. So sorry, we're running up on time.
We are. Yeah. But it's been super powerful. We've talked about communication and how our trust in ourselves can propel us forward, and letting go of that oh shit handle in the car, and trusting in ourselves to take the driver's seat in our own life, to see the horizon of possibilities going forward.
Yeah.
And it's, I thank you, Bobby, for talking. I love these.
Always my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And like, subscribe, do all that fun jazz, and you'll see our info below if you want to get in contact with us. And please, this is not a monologue. This is a dialogue. So please put forth all of your questions, what you want us to talk about. I come from a coaching realm. He comes from a counseling realm, and we're kind of marrying the two together to have two different perspectives. One, and two, he's the man and I'm a female too. I mean, that's the
I did notice that.
That's the Captain Obvious observation right there. Yeah.
We're gonna call it coachling. It's the combination of the two. It's coachling.
Coachling. So
I look forward to next time for sure.
Yep, for sure. We will see you next week. We're going to be doing this weekly every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I hope to see you there. Light, love, and gratitude.
I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Until next time.
All right. Bye, Kinsey.